Hi, Angela. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, fine. It's so nice seeing you again. I was wondering when we're going to have this chat. I thought it was by time we should, actually. And I think we need to really just get into it and just talk about, what about the 50 billion Black women and girls whose lives matter at the end of the day. Um, but yeah, just, as to midwives, and I think you understand when I say that I think that, racism and colonization has really affected the way service is being delivered. I don't know what your thoughts
Oh,
are on it. Yeah.
of course. Having been in this space and a midwife, having practiced and having been in the global health development space, I have seen so much of this entrenched racism, colonial hangovers, and the like. Of course, I totally agree with you and hear you because that is what I speak about most of my days in my work.
Yeah, I know. I think, one of the big things that I've been picking up, through working as a midwife, but then going into public health is this whole issue of patriarchy and how colonialism has brought that on board. It was almost like, it was kind of, how would you say, comes with the package. Patriarchy comes with the package. And from there comes this trope that, people of color are these workhorses that can do anything and everything. So, these white supremacists are all these pretty people that must sit somewhere, but Black women and Black men, even if they find themselves in the same situation, are just these workhorses. They can just pull the weight, whatever it is, and therefore they're such strong people. Yeah, I pretty much had an issue with that trope that we have to deal with on a daily basis.
And we have to keep on dealing with it because remember, we are talking about colonial hangovers. Remember, the Black people were the slaves. So that has been perpetuated to date because they still see the Black people as these donkeys. They are the slaves. The masters are the ones, they are the ones who have the feelings and everything else. But these donkeys have no feelings. So we can give them whatever we want. Whatever is not working in this part of the world, we can send it to them. Whatever family planning method is not working for them, we can send them to this. Whatever is good for them is not good. Whatever is good for them is not good. What is good for us is what is good for them. I mean, it's obvious, and I'm sick and tired, Yumna, because we can't continue silencing this. We have to speak about it, and we have to really come up and really challenge the status quo because a lot needs to be done. Really, there's so much of racism, there's so much colonial hangovers, and the people perpetuating it actually think that they are doing good just because they don't want to introspect, don't want to actually look back and say it is not good for them. Let's find out from them what is good for them. It's the realities of the people, you and me and other people, are not taken into consideration when anything is being shaped. It's all about this is what we think is good for them. After all, they have no voice,
That's just so true. I was made to think right now when you were saying that, when you're saying what's good for you. It's and there's two things that I want to talk about. First of all, as an example that I want to just talk about how the difference in treatment for people who have for example, in a domestic worker situation. So you have the madam, and the madam is pregnant, right? She's going for her checkups. And when she goes for the checkups, she needs support and she needs to be taken care of. And so, she needs to be pampered, in other words. So, and then there's the domestic worker who's also pregnant, but she's the one that's doing the pampering, and she's the one that's having to look after this madam. And they are experiencing the exact same thing. But it's okay for the madam to be pampered. And it's okay for the Black woman, the domestic worker, to be doing all the hard work to pamper the madam, and no one's pampering her. And for me, that is just an indication, again, of that particular trope of how Black women are just not seen as purposeful in other than being able to serve on someone. And it still is there today. In today's living age, today, as we sit here, we are still seeing that. And those are a bunch of double standards, but it's just, it was for me, that's that, if we were to do an evaluation on racism and colonization in particular, that's impact, man. That's successful impact to reach that level where you could do this and you could still see how it worked. Colonization worked to the point that the levels of power, from power over onto others, has really successfully worked in the concept of colonialism. And it makes me so mad because it does translate at a service level. It definitely translates at the service level with family planning.
And let me tell you, you've said something that is very true, because at the day, can you imagine, Yumna, what you're talking about? Everybody is now talking about decolonizing the whole agenda of global health and the like. But those who are talking about it are the same colonial masters talking about it. Tell me, how can you bring down the master's house using the master's tools? It is the high time that people like you and me are given the space and take up the space to actually decolonize and tell them, sit there. We are the ones who have suffered this for the longest time. You have perpetuated colonialism. It has actually given birth to patriarchy and all this. You are continuing to perpetuate this. And so many people are suffering. We have had enough of you. Sit there. Come and work with us as we tell you what is best for us, because don't come and tell us. It is so sad, Yumna, because we are in a space where we are talking about the decolonization movement, but it has been captured by the same colonialists. It is the same people who are coming to tell us, take this long-acting and family planning method for adolescents who are in school, but this is not good for you. This is good for you because you need to control this. Why can't they let us decide for ourselves? As a midwife, I get tired because in practice, I was being told this is a combo of family planning methods, but we can only give them to these people because this is only what is available. When what is not working for them, it is bad for them. Take it to Africa, take it to Asia. It's wrong in so many fronts. We need to call them.
Oh my God, you're making me so excited because it made me think of the Tepavering ring. The Tepavering ring it was something that the African women, for the first time in their lives, felt that they had control over their family planning needs and were able to control even their HIV status and prevention. And yet, they are saying, this is what we want. And now they're needing to fight for it. They need to fight to get this accepted. They need to fight. Why? Because some American women felt that it doesn't sit well with them. And so we still need approval from that side. But this is Black women in Africa who tried it out and said, we want it. We have a level of control over it. And we are still fighting for this. You know, it's okay to bring other stuff here and use us as guinea pigs and try us out on it. But here is a method, a family planning method that can prevent HIV and prevent pregnancy. And we are saying no to it. No, because the West felt that it was going to not work. And so, no, we won't be advocating for this. Oh my God, that's such a bunch of nonsense. You know, it reminds me of another instance when I was working in the hospital, and another colleague and I, we were working with this, and we were noticing that Black women was being serviced differently. And the two of us, obviously, we spoke different languages, the two of us, and I spoke English and she spoke Xhosa. And we decided to do an experiment, a little study, and we discovered that obviously language, and this we know for a fact that if you don't understand each other's language, communication is poor. But no effort was made to understand what the Black woman needs. And so if she couldn't understand English, she just was left. She was just left. And she had to find her own way about it. But the minute my friend who spoke Xhosa spoke to her and asked her what she needed, oh my gosh, the interpretation, the understanding of what she needed was worlds apart from what the person who was speaking English understood. And so for me, I think we don't make enough effort. We sit in some form of discomfort, but it's okay. We just shrug it off and, oh, well, sorry. But we don't make enough effort, Angela. There is something now that we can use. We can definitely use, and we are saying the ring works, but no one is listening. No one is interested because it doesn't affect them. So for me, I just think, maybe I should stop saying for me, because I think it just sounds like something that comes from me. But I'm just very, very concerned that no one is really taking up decolonization from a very serious perspective. I think people are taking it up more, like you are saying, Angela, colonizing the decolonization narrative.
Oh,
so that it benefits.
I mean, it is so... The discomfort, Yumna, is what is going to make people get out of that. As long as you are still feeling comfortable saying, oh, we have these statistics. You and me are statistics. Nobody really thinks about you and me as something else. We are a statistics to tick and say, oh, this is what is happening. I think it makes them happy until they get uncomfortable and actually get into our shoes and let us run, because we are the ones who live the realities. We are the ones who know what is happening and what is best for us, we need to decolonize every sector. And we need to stop talking about decolonization, and we are the colonialists. We need to let the people who have felt it, the wearer of the shoes knows where it pinches most, Yumna. It is us to tell them what is best for us. And can they listen? If you really want to work with us, it's okay. Work with us, feel uncomfortable, so that you can actually now feel comfortable when we get comfortable. Because until we get comfortable, until you get a place of feeling discomfort and comfortable with that discomfort and acknowledging that you are actually a perpetrator, not one of us, we will not change the status quo. And I will continue saying this. I will not pay tribute to status quo as I see my fellow Black women and women of color suffering across board in whatever space in global health and development. And in whatever, I am tired. We need to wake up, take the space, smell the coffee, and tell a spade it's a spade, not a spoon.
Couldn't agree more with you. And talking about lived experiences, I mean, there was some work that we are doing at Family at Frontline AIDS, and it's work done on female schistosomiasis, genital schistosomiasis, and this is basically a preventable disease that can be a disease that can be prevented, and it's picked up. It's like bilharzia, and it gets picked up in water, fresh water. And it's picked up by both men and women, but the stigma and the effect on women is so much worse than it is on men. And it gets into the female genital tract and it presents itself as something else. And if you don't know what you're looking for, then you won't know. Then you will misdiagnose it into anything, right? Anything else, STIs and all kinds of other stuff. And that was a stigma that went around, with young girls, even girls that have not engaged in any form of sexual activity. There was this stigma that went with it, that you are, and therefore you have this, and it's an STI, and you're lying to us, and the kind of abuse, the violence that comes with it, the disconnect with it. And I think I just want to just round up here, and I just want to say that, if we pay more attention to lived experiences, we wouldn't be neglecting stuff like this. Because, I mean, if you neglect FGS, then you're going to get HIV. But if you prevent it, you're preventing HIV as well. And this is at a family planning service level. So I just want to say out there, I think what's important is that if we start listening to the lived experience and responding to the lived experiences rather than what we think it should be, we're actually going to have a bigger impact on this. And getting back to that whole point of discomfort, the discomfort is good. Discomfort is very good because it means you got to a point where you really now need to work with it. And, when you feel the discomfort, especially in conversations of anti-racism or decolonization, understand the discomfort you're feeling and act upon it from a point of integrity. Please be honest about it. Don't rationalize it, because that discomfort is what's going to get you into the real cycle of decolonization and addressing issues of decolonization and racism, colonization and racism. So for me, I mean, I think my last few words, because I know we're running out of time soon, is just work with that discomfort, understand it, and then apply it and listen to the lived experiences and respond to it.
I totally hear you, Yumna, completely. I totally hear. We have a very big integrity gap. And I keep saying in every conversation that legitimacy of what we say and we speak must be seen in our actions. And our actions can only be seen when we do what you've just said. Listen to the realities of these people that have actually lived and experienced every day, instead of pushing your narrative out of your own unconscious biases and your privileges that you don't want to acknowledge, and come and wear a black suit and assume that you're black or you're a woman of color. No. The truth of the matter is the woman of color, the black woman, knows best what is best for her. Don't come and say, I don't think this is. Reminds me of how everyone came and said, your medicine is bad. Then you take away our leaves and everything and go make your conventional medicine and come and sell for us. And yet you told us they're bad. I mean, we must acknowledge the integrity gap. We must acknowledge that theory cannot be the same as lived reality. The theory, the legitimacy of what you do must be guided by the realities of you and me, Yumna, not what you read in books. And don't come and tell us this is best for you. It's not tested in us. We've not experienced it. We don't like it. It's not within our culture and everything. Please acknowledge that, appreciate that we have to actually drive our own solutions. Until we get there, we will just be singing diversity, equity, inclusion, decolonization, just to make us happy for the sake of it. It is the time we walk the talk. Let the realities shape the next agenda in this conference, in family planning, in sexual reproductive health, and so much more. Over to you, Yumna.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with it. And I think just in closing, Angela, I think for me, what's going to work, not for me, but I need to really stop saying for me, but I think it's just so close to me. That's why I think what's important here is that we really need to challenge the decolonizing narrative being colonized, number one. And I think one of the best ways to test that is if the narrative that's being said and being spread out there is responding to the lived experience of people. And if we can see the effect in prevention of HIV, in better services, equity services towards people of color at service level. And I think more importantly than ever is to see the growth and development and prevention that's going to come out of this this narrative, because then we haven't, if that doesn't happen, then we've lost the battle to colonizing services and the narratives that's going out there. So gosh, this was a very quick but such an important conversation, Angela. I think we need to really continue this conversation, and I think I'm going to invite you to our internal conversations that we are having at Frontline Nights, and maybe we take it out again. But yeah, definitely. Oh, thank you for this lovely chat. I really miss chatting to you.
Oh, thank you. Me too, Yumna. Really, I think it's a conversation we can actually see where we take it further, because we need to take it further, because it cannot just be between me and you. It has to bring in a bigger movement. We need to start a bigger and greater decolonization movement, a realistic and legitimate decolonization movement, not one that is driven by the colonial masters.
Absolutely. Well, anyway, actually, I have to run, but thank you so much for this conversation. Thanks. Bye.